Hans Albrecht Bethe was born on July 2, 1906, in Strasbourg, which at that time was part of Germany. His father was a professor of physiology, and his mother was a writer, so from the very beginning his home was filled with both science and literature. Little Hans grew up surrounded by books, curiosity, and a culture of learning. From an early age he was fascinated by numbers and by the mysteries of nature. Teachers noticed his unusual talent quickly, and it was clear that this boy was destined to do something extraordinary. As he grew older, Hans followed his passion for physics. He studied at the University of Frankfurt and later at Munich, where he became a student of Arnold Sommerfeld, one of the great physicists of the time. Under Sommerfeld's guidance, Hans learned the depths of quantum theory and atomic structure, and by the time he was in his 20s he was already publishing research that made scientists across Europe take notice. But history was changing around him. In 1933, when the Nazis came to power, life became dangerous for Hans, who had Jewish heritage through his mother. He was forced to leave his homeland. First he went to England and then to the United States, a place that would become his new home and the center of his remarkable career. At Cornell University in America, Hans Bethe finally found stability. He became a professor and threw himself into research and teaching. He was brilliant, but he was also kind and clear in his explanations, quickly earning the respect of both colleagues and students. But the greatest discovery of his life was yet to come. For thousands of years, humans had looked up at the sun and the stars and wondered what made them shine. Were they burning like firewood? Were they eternal flames? No one really knew. Hans Bethe found the answer. He discovered that deep inside the hearts of stars, hydrogen atoms fuse together to form helium, and in that process they release enormous amounts of energy. This process, called nuclear fusion, explained the power of the sun and the stars. It was one of the most important discoveries in astrophysics, and for this contribution Hans Bethe was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1967. He had unlocked the fire of the stars. But the story of Hans Bethe also carried a darker chapter. During World War II, when the world was torn apart by violence, the United States launched the Manhattan Project, the secret effort to build the atomic bomb. Bethe was chosen to lead the theoretical division at Los Alamos. Working with great scientists like Robert Oppenheimer, Enrico Fermi, and Edward Teller, he helped develop the theories that made the bomb possible. When the atomic bombs fell on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the war ended, but the devastation weighed heavily on his conscience. Bethe had used his genius to help create a weapon that could destroy the world. This was a burden he carried for the rest of his life. After the war, Hans Bethe took a different path. He became a strong advocate for peace and arms control. He spoke publicly about the dangers of nuclear weapons and urged governments to pursue disarmament. He used his reputation and his voice to warn humanity that science, if misused, could lead to destruction. He reminded the world that knowledge without wisdom was dangerous, and he believed that the true role of a scientist was to serve humanity, not destroy it. At Cornell, Hans Bethe continued to teach and inspire for decades. His students remembered him not only as a Nobel laureate and a genius, but also as a humble and generous man who always had time to explain, to encourage, and to guide. Despite his achievements, he lived simply and valued honesty above glory. Hans Bethe lived nearly a century. He passed away on March 5, 2005, at the age of 98. His life left behind a shining legacy. Every time we look at the stars, we are seeing his work reflected in their light. He gave us the key to understanding the universe, and he gave us the wisdom to remember that science is powerful but must always be guided by responsibility. Hans Bethe, the man who revealed the secret of the stars, continues to inspire us today, reminding us that true greatness lies not only in discovery, but in the humanity with which we use it.